On the morning of March 24th, 2025, Gart Koig handed his wife a birthday card. She was turning 36. They were staying at a hotel on Oahu for a weekend trip he had planned as a gift, a gesture meant to mean something after 4 of the hardest months in their marriage. She opened the card and teared up. It read, "Angel face, there isn't an obstacle in this world too hard for me to fight through for you." She later testified that she felt hopeful. She believed the trip was a turning point and that a new chapter in their marriage was beginning. By that afternoon, Ariel Koig was on a hiking trail with severe lacerations covering her head and face, blood soaking through her hair, screaming for 2 strangers to help her. Her husband was gone. Somewhere on that mountain, covered in blood, he was FaceTiming his 19-year-old son, telling him he wouldn't be making it back to Maui. What happened on the Pu'u Puka Trail on March 24th, 2025, did not begin that morning. It began in December 2024 with a word neither of them had invented, a technical acronym from the nuclear energy industry that Ariel Koig had quietly repurposed into something she should never have needed, a warning signal, a code word to tell another man that her husband was nearby. Gart Koig was not the kind of man anyone expected to end up in a Honolulu courtroom. At 47, he was an anesthesiologist at Maui Memorial Medical Center, a man who spent his career safely putting patients under for surgery and bringing them back. Born in South Africa, he had built a successful life in the United States. He had 2 children from a previous marriage, a respected career, and a salary to match. In 2018, he married Ariel, a nuclear engineer. She worked remotely as a project manager for TerraPower, a prominent next-generation nuclear energy company based in Washington state, a role that required a security clearance and a sharp, precise mind. Together, they seemed like a perfect match, 2 high-achieving professionals with demanding careers. In 2020, they had a son. In 2023, they had another. That same year, like many remote workers during that period, they moved their family to Maui, seeking the peace the island could offer. But the island could not protect them from the problems already growing inside their marriage. In late 2024, Ariel became emotionally involved with a male coworker, a senior director at TerraPower who was married and based in Washington state. She insisted they had never met in person and had never been physical. However, she was texting him constantly, on weekdays, weekends, during work hours and after, about deeply personal matters unrelated to their jobs. She testified that she deleted the messages immediately after sending them so her husband wouldn't see them. She also created a secret system to protect those conversations, a code word taken from a technical nuclear acronym they both used professionally, HALEU, high-assay low-enriched uranium, a type of advanced nuclear fuel. In her private WhatsApp chats, HALEU became a warning. It meant her husband had just walked into the room and the other person needed to stop replying immediately. She had built an entire system of concealment around talking to another man. It worked until December 2024, when Gart Koig, growing suspicious, picked up her phone, logged into her WhatsApp, and read everything. He didn't stumble upon the messages by accident. He had noticed the signs: her phone that never left her side, delayed responses, and a new kind of emotional distance. What he found were months of frequent, warm, personal conversations that had nothing to do with work. He also discovered the meaning of HALEU. The confrontation that followed was immediate and brutal. He called her a liar and worse. She testified that he was extremely angry and hurt, while she was apologetic and committed to saving the marriage. She described the relationship as an emotional affair that had never become physical. No meetings, no explicit photos, just frequent flirty and personal messages that she had deleted. Gart agreed to try to repair the marriage. They bought and listened together to the audiobook How to Help Your Spouse Heal from Your Affair. They started individual therapy and couples counseling. Every day from then on, Gart checked Ariel's phone, openly, with her knowledge. But the marriage they were trying to rebuild was built on ground that had not stopped shaking. For months past, Ariel's mother later testified she noticed a coldness and distance beneath the surface of what the couple showed others. In the weeks before March 24, 2025, things appeared to improve. They were sending happy Snapchats to family. Gart planned a birthday weekend for Ariel on Oahu, booked a hike on the Pu'u Puka Trail, made a dinner reservation, bought her a necklace, and wrote the heartfelt card. On the morning of her birthday, in their Oahu hotel room, he handed her the card and watched her cry with hope. She was right that something new was beginning that day. She was wrong about what it was. The Pu'u Puka Trail is a narrow, steep, and exposed hike near the Pali Lookout on Oahu. One side drops sharply off a cliff. Around 10 a.m., Gart and Ariel reached the trailhead. They took photos and sent them to family on Snapchat. Everything looked like a happy birthday hike. After about a quarter mile, Ariel stopped. The sheer drops made her uncomfortable. She told her husband she wasn't having fun and wanted to turn back. He went ahead briefly, then returned. They began walking back toward the parking lot. Then Gart suggested taking a selfie with the cliff in the background. Ariel was standing about 10 feet from the edge, holding onto a tree because the drop made her uneasy. That was when everything changed. She testified that he suddenly grabbed her with both hands and arms and said, "I'm so sick of this. Get back over there." He began pushing her toward the cliff. At first, her brain refused to accept what was happening. She threw herself to the ground, desperately grabbing at trees and shrubs while he tried to drag her closer to the edge. They struggled on the ground. Then she saw the syringe in his hand. He told her, "Hold still." She knocked it away. While holding her down with one hand, he rummaged through his backpack with the other and said, "Shut up. Nobody's going to hear you out here. Nobody's coming to save you." He then picked up a jagged lava rock and struck her repeatedly, prosecutors say about 10 times. Ariel fought back fiercely, biting and scratching him, screaming for help on a trail her husband had told her no one would hear. 2 female hikers heard her screams and rushed over. Gart stopped, left his bloodied wife on the ground, and walked away without looking back. The hikers stayed with Ariel and called 911. One of them told the operator, "Someone is currently being attacked on the top of Pu'u Puka. There's a man trying to kill her." Ariel was taken to Queen's Medical Center in Honolulu, where she was treated for severe scalp lacerations. She later showed the court the permanent bald patch on her forehead where hair no longer grows. Meanwhile, somewhere on the mountain, Gart Koig FaceTimed his 19-year-old son, Emil. He told him he wouldn't be coming back to Maui, asked him to take care of his younger brothers, revealed that Ariel had been cheating, and admitted he had tried to kill her. He said he was going to jump off a cliff. Emil begged him not to and immediately went to Ariel's parents, arriving at their door shaking and crying. Ariel's mother tried calling her daughter and Gart with no answer. She tracked Ariel's phone to the trail and texted Gart, "Is Ariel okay?" He never replied. A short time later, Gart called Emil again and asked who he had told. When Emil said he had contacted Ariel's parents and his own mother, Gart replied, "I'm going to go before the police catch me." Honolulu police found Ariel in the trail parking lot, bloodied and being helped by the 2 hikers. A search for Gart continued for hours. He was arrested near sunset while trying to flee. He has been in custody ever since. A week later, a grand jury indicted him on 1 count of attempted second-degree murder. His medical privileges at Maui Memorial were immediately suspended. 3 days after the attack, Ariel moved $123,000 from their joint account into her personal account. In May 2025, she filed for divorce and is seeking full custody of their 2 young sons, ages 3 and 5. Emil Koig, now living with his stepmother Ariel, has not spoken to his father since that day. He testified against him in court, referring to him only as the defendant. Gart Koig's trial began on March 19, 2026 in Honolulu, 5 days before the 1-year anniversary of the attack. Prosecutors argued the attack was premeditated, pointing to the syringe, research on his laptop about the trail and cliffs, and searches containing words like danger, death, fall, kill, and cliff. They argued that a man who buys and listens to a book on healing from infidelity while secretly planning violence is keeping score, not moving on. The defense claimed it was not premeditated murder, but a spontaneous scuffle in a broken marriage. They argued Ariel shoved first, that Gart reacted in panic, that she hit him with the rock first, and that the injuries, while serious, did not meet the threshold for attempted murder. They suggested Ariel was lying to gain financially in the divorce. The jury heard testimony from the two hikers, police officers, a criminalist who confirmed Ariel's DNA on the blood-stained lava rock, Ariel's parents, and Emil. Gart Koig took the stand on April 1, 2026. He denied trying to kill his wife, claiming he acted in the moment after feeling shoved toward the edge. He admitted striking her only twice and said he stopped when he realized what he was doing. He denied using or even having a syringe and said he felt suicidal afterward, horrified by his actions. As of April 2, 2026, the jury had not yet delivered a verdict. If convicted of attempted second-degree murder, Gart Koig faces life in prison with the possibility of parole. Regardless of the outcome, much has already been lost. His medical career, his marriage, his savings, his freedom, and his relationship with his children. His oldest son now calls him the defendant in court. His two youngest sons are growing up without their father. Ariel Koig had an emotional affair. She used a nuclear fuel term as a secret code to hide it. She broke her husband's trust in a way that counseling and time could not repair. Those things are true. But infidelity, no matter how painful, does not justify violence. There is no version of events on that trail where picking up a rock erases the messages on her phone. There is no version of that FaceTime call where confessing to attempted murder heals the pain from December 2024. Violence is not a chapter in a marriage. It is an ending. It ended Gart Koig's career. It ended his freedom. It ended his children's daily access to their father. Ariel's affair did not put Gart Koig in that jail cell. His own hands did.